That's your money saying it's time for a McDonald's run. Because with new McValue at McDonald's, you get more than you expect. Like buy a 6-piece McNuggets and add a McChicken for just $1. Your money says let's go. Get more than you expect with new McValue. Prices and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Hey, hi, welcome. I'm Don. Glad you tuned over to this spot on your dial, whether it's the FM or the AM side, or found us on a podcast. I'm Don McDonald. You want to get money right? Well, you're in the right place to do that. We're here, you and I, Tom sometimes, but he's on vacation right now, to make this process of earning money, part of it, saving money, yeah, really important, spending it, sure, but primarily how to invest it. Because for most of us, there will come a point where we're either unable, unwilling, or just tired of working. And so they call that retirement. Something that people did not do a long time ago. They did not do it. I mean, really, go back just over a century, and almost nobody, I think it was, I don't have the numbers. They're in one of my videos at talkingrealmoney.com, the one on the history of investing. I think it was it's less than 4% in the 1880s. Less than 4% of Americans lived to 65 years old. People didn't retire. And even of those who did, 70 or 80%, again, I don't remember the exact number, but wow, a lot of them continued to work after they turned 65. They worked right up until they died. Well, today, retirement is something new. It really is. It is something that goes back just a couple of generations. Retiring from work is a new thing, historically. And most of us are going to need money to do that. You really do. And it's quite a bit to do it comfortably, which is why you have to invest, which is why so many people out there want to help you invest, which is why and there's so much money involved that you've got all these people out there who want to help you do this, but they do it more for them than for you. Sure, there's something in it for you most of the time, unless it's a made off with your money scheme. But there's a lot of confusion. Cutting through that is what we at Talking Real Money want to do. Now, I'm Don McDonald. Tom Cock is on vacation. Our number is 855-935-TALK. If you have a question, 855-935-8255. Quick note, we have 22 minutes, minus commercials, for you to get your calls in today, or you're going to get the message thing and you can leave it and I'll do it on the podcast. So if you're going to call right this second at 855-935-TALK. And if you do call, you will, and ask a question, you'll get a copy of Financial Physics. So give me a call if you have a really important financial question and it's going to help your life one way or another get the right answer. Give me a call, 855-935-8255, because your future matters. And you need a plan, and you need to do this the right way, and you need to stop getting ripped off and start living a more sensible and actually more sane future. You got to learn how to do a few things. And a lot of the people out there don't want to teach you how to do that. I read a great piece, just came out today. And in fact, there's some more reading I have to do because, I mean, literally, I read this piece about 45 minutes before I went on the air. So I haven't had a lot of time to study everything. But one of the folks out there in the economics business that I admire is a gentleman by the name of William Sharp. William Sharp won a Nobel Prize for economics. He is a professor at Stanford. He's very well known. He wrote the paper, The Arithmetic of Active Management, which basically proves mathematically that active money management in aggregate cannot deliver any extra return. It can't do it. It's a mathematical impossibility. Well, his latest work, and I'm going to cover a lot more on this in the future, is about what he calls, get this, I love this, the nastiest, hardest problem in retirement. And what is the nastiest, hardest problem in retirement? It's one that challenges all of us when we're working toward and are in retirement. And it's not saving enough, although that is a problem. It's the biggest confusion and the most complex issue is having enough income to meet your needs and wants, and then having enough income to get you through the rest of your life, given the fact that there is absolutely no way for the vast majority of us, unless we're terminal, to know how long we're going to live. So this is a topic that we will discuss today and on into the future because it is an issue.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Do you need a little help with your investments? Set up a free, no-obligation appointment with one of our advisors at TalkingRealMoney.com.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
Tom's on vacation. I'm Don on this sports shortened edition of Talking Real Money. We got, for those of you listening to the show, Husky basketball, University of Washington basketball coming up. For those of you listening to the podcast, we just have other podcasts you can listen to. 855-935-TALK. Give us a call. We have time, but you need to get your call in soon. Don't wait, because we've got about 15 minutes. 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. And Catherine is next. Hi, Catherine. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Hi, Don.
Hi.
I have a question about your risk quiz. I know you
Yes,
folks
ma'am.
talk about rebalancing your portfolio twice a year, but how often should you take the risk quiz as you get older?
Well, I don't believe that our risk tolerance, our risk profile changes all that much as we get older.
Huh, okay.
I really don't, and I haven't found that to be the case anecdotally. I've, of course, never done a scientific study because I've got too much work. But I found that a lot of people that I know, again, anecdotally, their risk tolerance doesn't change. In fact, I found that there are a lot of young people who have higher levels of risk aversion than older people who've lived life and understand that markets are volatile. So you might want to take it every now and again just to see if emotionally you feel differently about it. But my guess is you'll find little or no change year to year to year.
Okay.
And by the way, we don't say rebalance twice a year. We say rebalance at a rate that's comfortable for you. And if you have transaction fees, then you don't want to rebalance as often because you don't want to incur fees to do so.
Got it. All right, thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Thanks for the call. See, there's a misconception, and it's a misconception that has been perpetrated by the investment industry that for some reason, when you're older, you need to play it safer. And that's actually, I didn't do a scientific study, but there have been some done. I don't have them here in front of me. I know that Wade Pfau at American College did one not too long ago, and I don't remember the particulars of the piece of work, but I do recall that the conclusion was, as you get older, you may need more equities in your portfolio. You may need to take on a little more risk. And again, my personal experience has been, I find that more seasoned individuals, been around a lot longer, understand. They paid attention. They see that markets go down and go up, but go up more than they go down, and therefore become a little more tolerant of the volatility, particularly those who build a really well-diversified portfolio. 855-935-TALK. Give me a call. I've got time. I'd love to answer your questions. And Christina, it's your turn. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
My question might not be as complicated as everybody else's. I have a very limited income.
Okay.
It's a retirement income, and I pay no taxes on it. I owe about $220,000 on my home. I just inherited about $250,000. Should I pay my home off? I have a 3.8 interest on my home. That's VA loan.
No.
Okay.
No. Christina, first off, let me ask you a very personal question. About how old are you?
I'm just turning 65 next week.
Okay.
I'm a disabled vet. I have my VA disability, and I'm just free to do whatever I want to do.
If you pay off your house and you have a need for a bunch of money all of a sudden, medical reasons, whatever it might be, it's so hard.
All my medical's covered too, so all that's covered by the VA.
Well, but you may have some other things that go on in life. You know, let's say, for example,
I have grandchildren and things. Yes.
Yeah, children, or the roof leaks. You got to replace the roof for $15,000 or $20,000, or getting money out of a house is hard and can be very expensive. Getting money out of your investment portfolio is easy. Plus, an investment portfolio that is halfway well built with $250,000 should be able to generate enough money to pay your mortgage payment, plus a little bit of growth. So I'd invest it. And we lost her. We got a beep, beep, beep. So here's what I do, Christina, because I'm sure you can still hear on the radio. Go to talkingrealmoney.com. Take the risk quiz, RISQUIZ. There's a little button. Just look for the Scrabble letters or whatever they are that say risk. Click on that. Take that 10 minutes. Then, with your $250,000, either find yourself a fee-only 100% fiduciary advisor and go watch the video on that so you know how to pick one. Or you could go to Vanguard and build a portfolio. Either way, if you need some hand-holding along the way, though, advisors can be nice. Not necessary in every case, but can be nice, particularly when you're trying to create a plan. And get that, invest that money. Do not put it in your mortgage because you've got a very inexpensive mortgage. And life changes down the road. Having an income stream and some other assets that can be used for emergencies is really, truly critical. I am not a big proponent of paying off low interest rate mortgages. And if it's a high interest rate mortgage, then you just want to refinance that thing. And the other thing people neglect to consider is life changes. There may come a time when you don't want the hassle of a house, where you may want to live in a rental community of some kind, or you may, heaven forbid, need some kind of long-term care, and the house may not be saleable at the time you need it to be. And this is a particular problem in areas like Seattle, where people get in the habit, based on what has happened, of projecting that into the future, saying, well, real estate prices have gone through the roof. They're never going to go down. Please don't ever say that, because history has painted a far different picture. There are vast swaths of America where real estate prices have gone down and have stayed down for many, many, many years. The Seattle area is a special place because of technology, but who knows what happens next? I mean, Detroit was a special place because of manufacturing. The car business was the biggest business in America. Who knows when they'll recover? 855-935-TALK. We still have a little time left before the basketball game, so give me a call.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Download the advisor interview form and find out if your advisor's a fiduciary at talkingrealmoney.com.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
It's not. There's not an easy, like everything else. Like Bill Sharp said, or I mentioned about the nastiest, hardest problem in retirement is trying to find the best way to create an income. Well, there are simple ways to do it, but they're not always the best way. And the problem with life in general, particularly the future, is we can't know the right answer. So when it comes to help or no help, going to Vanguard and doing it yourself versus finding an advisor, it's got to be based on your particular situation. So it's got to be personal. But one of the things you should do, go watch the video on finding fiduciary help if you think you need help. And Clinton, you're next. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Thank you. I've got two questions about Roth IRAs.
Okay.
I rolled over a Roth IRA from a Roth 401 to a self-directed Roth IRA. And my question is, when I did that, does the 5-year rule, I'm under 59, does a 5-year rule reset, so I have to wait 5 years for that time period? And then the second one is... I don't believe so.
Not from a Roth 401 to a Roth IRA. No, I don't believe so.
Okay. And then the second one is, do I have to worry about short-term capital gains?
On what?
On the Roth. Is everything tax-free, no matter if I trade securities?
Everything you do is tax-free.
Okay. It's almost too good to be true.
It is almost too good to be true. But let me ask you a really important question, Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure you want a short-term trade?
This is my mad money. I have my majority of, this is the less than 10%.
Your Roth is your mad money? Oh, my
goodness.
Well,
I have two. Okay. I have two Roths. Oh,
good.
This is the smaller of the two. Yeah.
So this is the mad money Roth. This is the Roth that if you could, you would take it to Vegas kind of Roth.
Yes.
Okay, I feel better now. All right, I was just worried. You know how I think. You know how we feel about short-term trading. It's very risky.
Yes. I have defined benefits, so I think I'm pretty well diversified. Yeah.
Well, you're right. It does sound too good to be true, but it is true, which is why the government has so many qualifiers built in. But I think you're in pretty darn good shape.
Great. I appreciate the security you just given me.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for calling. Take care. And remember, you can call anytime. Anytime. I know we're running short today, but we take your calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, the weird thing today is if you call in the next half hour between 1:30 and 2 Pacific, if you call during that time, the phone will still ring to Como because it's set on a electronic timer thing. But if you call after 2 Pacific, it will go to our recording thing where you can leave a question, and then on a future podcast, I will answer that question. So now you have to listen to the podcast. Oh, sorry. But you should anyway. If you like what you hear here, go to talkingrealmoney.com or go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any of those services and listen to the Talking Real Money podcast, which, we do several a week. And check them out and share them with friends and all that stuff. And also, if you want an education about how investing works, how you find a fee-only 100% fiduciary advisor, how you create an income from your retirement assets, which, again, we talked about one of the big problems. And we're going to be updating these things, too, along the way. or real quick video on Social Security income. Go check out the first 4 videos we've put up at talkingrealmoney.com/videos, or just click on the guy with the video head on the front page. And you're going to get something out of some of these, and you can share them with friends. They're free. There's no obligation to do anything. Go check them out, and thanks so much for listening.
Tom and Don are talking real money. We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for educational and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately and consistently predict the future. So past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Vestry, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit talkingrealmoney.com for more information and disclosures. That should keep the lawyers happy.